Hi, I'm Kate Warren, Director of Global Recruitment Services at DevX, and welcome to my weekly Career Matters video blog. So this week, I wanted to take the opportunity to address a recent study released by The Ladders about how job applicants read or misread job postings and how it could be hurting their job prospects. So if you're an active job seeker, likely reading job postings, scouring the job boards as part of your weekly, if not daily routine, and you see a job that looks interesting, send an application, and then just wait. And sometimes you might wait quite a while and not hear anything back other than an automated, thank you for your application response. And it can feel like, you're just throwing these applications into that black hole somewhere, and it can be rather frustrating. In fact, the number one complaint I hear from job applicants is that they never hear anything back after they submit an application, and they wonder, is anyone really paying attention? But then on the other side, the number one complaint I hear from recruiters is that they receive too many applications from people who don't meet even the very bare minimum requirements in their job posting. So I think this latter study that was released helps explain this disconnect. So the study, what that they did was they asked a group of job seekers how long they read a job description or a job posting before deciding to apply. And when they asked this group of job seekers, 44% of the respondents said they spend 1 to 5 minutes reading a job posting before deciding to submit an application. And 19% said they actually spend up to 10 minutes reading that job posting. However, when they actually studied the same group of job seekers using an eye tracking technology, they found that on average, they read job posting for only 76.7 seconds for one that they thought might be a good fit. And they dismissed a job posting as not being a good fit in as quickly as 49.7 seconds. And then I think what was most surprising about this study was that only 14.6 of those seconds was spent reading the actual job description and job qualifications. The vast majority of that time was spent reading the job title and the overall organization description. So I think that means that a lot of candidates are deciding to apply to a job or not apply to a job, but really based on some of that very superficial criteria, not really basing it on the heart of the matter, the actual job description and qualifications. Job titles can be very vague. They can mean different things for different organizations. One you see frequently, program officer within the international development industry can mean different levels, depending on the organization, depending on the project they support. They could have very different skills and qualifications they require. So just relying on job titles alone is not necessarily a clear indication of whether or not it's a good fit for you. In that same vein, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not a good fit for you. So just dismissing a job based on the title, you might be missing out on an opportunity where you really would be a strong fit. So while it's important to identify with the values and mission of the employer, really spending a lot of time focused on the overall organization description, and if you are tailoring your applications more to that, is really missing out on tailoring it to the exact specifications of that position versus just the overall organization. And some international development positions have extremely specific requirements, and making a long list, and you might read them and think, gosh, is there anybody who even exists in the world that meets these criteria? And believe me, recruiters often feel the same way. Sometimes these are passed down from the donors that are funding a project, and they require that the people working on it meet all of those criteria, check all of those boxes. But for a lot of positions, sometimes what's posted is a wish list. So they're really hoping to check most of those boxes. So when you're trying to decide which ones you should take your time to tailor an application, I usually advise if you meet at least 80% of that criteria, that you go ahead and submit an application. Anything less, you're likely to not be competitive, and it frankly is just a waste of your time when you could be spending that time and energy and resources applying to jobs that will be a better fit, and you'll have a higher likelihood of getting a call back. And so, some requirements can be negotiable, but there are some that really aren't, that can be really firm requirements, and those tend to be maybe language. So for example, if a project requires fluency in French because that's the working environment. If you don't speak the language, they really just can't consider you. Sometimes citizenship or education or years of experience are really firm requirements. Again, sometimes passed down from the donor that the employer really can't budge from. So try to use your best judgment in reading that job description to get an indication. And sometimes it's clear it's spelled very clearly that it's a firm requirement. But again, use your judgment, and if you think that's going to be a non-negotiable, then I wouldn't just go ahead and submit an application anyway. On DevX, we have a feature for job posters where they can add these additional requirements when posting a job. So you might see a warning or notification if you apply to a job or you don't fit that core criteria. And this is just our way of helping you to let you know that, hey, if you don't fit all of these core criteria, you are probably wasting your time, frankly, again, to applying to a job where they will immediately dismiss you, might not even really review your application because you don't fit that minimum requirement. Employers, I think, can certainly do a better job of writing more descriptive job titles and making the job postings and job descriptions more succinct and easier to digest. So I'm not saying all of this relies just on the job applicant side, and I will address that in another blog to recruiters. But I think the key takeaway for job seekers is that when you're scouring the job board and looking at those job postings, really look past those job titles and organization description and consciously go straight to that description, the qualifications, and make sure that you're really evaluating those and matching up opportunities based on that criteria. So thank you again for joining me for my Career Matters video blog. If you have any questions about managing your career in international development, please tweet me at DevX Careers, and it can be the subject of a future blog.